Welcome to VFX and Chill. I am Hashi, and floating over there is my friend Seth.
It's me, Seth. Hashi, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing well. Seth, did you get a new haircut? There's something different about you.
You know, you can't put your finger on it, can you? This finger.
No, I can't, I literally can't put these fingers hardly anywhere.
Sure you can. Here, I'll help you. Hang on. I'm coming over. You can put your finger on my hair.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay.
What, is this uncomfortable?
You know, frankly, I feel a little bit uncomfortable in the quantum realm, and this may have been a poor choice.
I'll tell you, there are parts of me right now that are in the quantum room with this suit. I'm not a fan. You want to just change back into our original clothes?
Yeah, let's change back.
Let's do it.
Which button do I press? It's one of.
Just derobe. You do it all the time. It's good.
Perfect.
Here we go.
Welcome, everybody, to VFX and Chill. We are a live weekly VFX talk show, and one of the things that we started the show to do was to respond to and try to recreate movie visual effects as they came out. And we're actually finally doing it. We haven't done that in a while.
You say like we've not done it yet. Like this is our first time.
After 3 seasons, we
I don't know if you know,
the
but we like movies here on VFX and Chill.
Yes. We used to do, try to do more ripped from the box office-y shows, and now we just kind of do what we want. But this week there was, I didn't know if it was a joke at first, but a Ant-Man Quantumania was trending for a variety of reasons on my social feed. And so we decided that this week we would talk about Ant-Man Quantumania. We'll talk a little bit about some shrinking kind of effects. We'll maybe teach you how to M.O.D.O.Kify yourself.
That's inappropriate. Whatever, as long as you're in the privacy of your own home and not in a public place.
Mm-hmm. And and then also we might take a look through the trailer here and find out if there's anything that you lovely folks enjoy in there and are curious about how you might accomplish something similar. So we have a lot of fun planned for the show, and we had a lot of fun M.O.D.O.Kifying ourselves this week. Probably late to introducing you over here, Seth. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm so good. I've just been this disembodied person floating about, and now I have identity. Finally, it's me. The people know who I am now, and the show can really begin. No, Hosh, I'm really, really freaking good. I'm excited about today's show. We have some really fun stuff to show off. Do you want to jump right in looking at the clips? You know what I don't have, and I guess we should talk about, I don't have the M.O.D.O.K image, and I wonder if we should just... it's spoilery, but I guess if we warn people, we can bring it up and talk about it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see if I can have something on my screen that is shareable, since we don't have that
Actually,
downloaded.
I think I've got a screenshot of it I can bring in. I can find it. But why don't we talk through the...
So, yeah. The Marvel comics have a wide variety of types of characters, obviously. And one of the brilliant things about a comic book is that a character can look like whatever you draw. And you can go as wild as you want. And one of the cool things about the Marvel movies is that for the most part, they're sort of this, it's finally the point at which we can generate a lot of these things that people have imagined and illustrated and drawn in comic books. And so it's wonderful, the scale of things you can accomplish with visual effects, and a lot of people working very hard to make them happen. And there are a couple things that have always been pain points when it comes to visual effects, and probably the very top of the list are humans, because we know what humans look like very much, and there's always a very high risk of uncanny valleyness to humanoid characters. And Marvel has done a tremendous job, especially when financed and given the time well, to do exciting things like Thanos brought to life. What's fun about Thanos is that you can watch the other appearances of Thanos leading up to Infinity War and see how drastically they improved
see his
into
growth,
a completely realized.
And that's what story is all about. It's about character growth. It's about characters who change, and that's what Thanos represents, and that's what the Marvel Cinematic Universe provides for us. Speaking of
the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
speaking of change,
someone was asking if we could do a tutorial for our Marvel themed intro, and I'm saying we talked about it a little bit in the Aaron Rabinowitz episode, I believe.
And we've also talked about it on Perception. Talked to us about how they actually literally built it on maybe the first time that they were on the show.
That sounds about right. I mean, one recommendation if you're making a Marvel-style intro is to do a live weekly visual effects talk show. So if you do that for like 2 years, you'll have lots of different images and inside jokes that you can pull in as images and put into a montage like that. We should do a tutorial.
We should do a tutorial about about how to have a show for 2 years and create inside jokes. Like, it should be very granular. It should take 2 years, a 2-year-long tutorial. Welcome to VFX and Chill. That's what you're watching right now. Hey, guys, speaking of so Kurosawa once said that the protagonist changes and the antagonist is a character who never changes. So does that mean that Paul Rudd is America's antagonist? Because this man looks exactly the same as he did 27,000 years ago when he was born in a tomb.
Paul Rudd is definitely known in many circles as America's antagonist, which is, I think, why he was cast as Ant.
I'm sorry, that got me. America's antagonist.
Ant-Man is antagonist. It's such a good joke, Hashi.
No, that's not. That's not the joke. No, damn it. The joke. Okay.
Hashi's had good jokes. Like, Hashi already did a very good joke at the beginning when there was no sound that everyone missed, which I'm sad about.
Yeah, too bad no one will know. Hashi, you're in trouble when Michael's complimenting your jokes.
It's a good sign, everybody.
It's a good sign.
It means they're repeatable. It's like Pam on The Office never letting Michael Scott answer the phone the first time.
Oh, yeah. That's right. He gets it better the second time around. So this is Ant-Man Quantumania. And I'm afraid to play too much of this in full motion because that tends to be where we get pulled off of YouTube. Stricken,
yeah.
But I
would hate if people learned about this movie and wanted to go see it.
It's such a cool
from this promotional material that they spent millions of dollars rushing,
and that they put out $millions rushing. Boom, first jab. Yeah, and we're pointing the jabs not toward the VFX artists today.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. The truth is, we don't know what's their fault, and that's why we should never
go back.
Assume it's theirs. Now, obviously, there's us.
There it is.
Right
there's
there.
Us.
Now, I do have the image of what this ended up looking like in the movie, supposedly. I've actually not seen the movie, so spoiler alert.
Same here. I have not seen the movie either.
So spoiler alert, get the hell out of here if you don't want to see what this looks like, but I promise you do. So I think this is what it looks like. Now, I do want to say, everybody, be cool, okay? Everyone be super cool about this. You in the chat, be cool. When I pull this up, don't throw crap at this. Don't throw jabs. We're welcoming this as a safe space. So here it is. Apparently, this is what it looks like in the movie. Now, I will point out, Ant-Man, tonally, has been a comedy. I don't know the tone at which this character is presented, so I'm not going to judge it. What I will say is it does look really funny, whether that's intentional or not. Hashi,
it's a humorous character. It's a funny big head. Big heads are funny.
I would hope that it's funny, because a movie that casts this character in a serious tone is doing America a disservice, much like America's antagonist, Paul Rudd. Now, Hashi, I believe a Vulture article came out this week. You want to talk about that real quick, just to give context?
Sure. I believe that two individuals who contributed to the look of this character, among other Marvel visual effect projects, decided to speak anonymously but candidly about what the process is like for a visual effects house to work. And this is probably something that you've been hearing about since the beginning of the visual effects. There's something that are very difficult to prove to some people, how many humans are required to make them. I mean, starting with Star Wars. It was very difficult to explain that this warehouse full of people was working very hard, and the movie couldn't be made without them. And that has sort of proceeded through today. If you've seen documentaries like, what is the Life of Pi one? I'm forgetting the name.
Life of Pi, the movie Life of Pi.
Rhythm and Hughes.
Right.
The documentary on it.
I don't remember.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, it's on YouTube. You can look up Life of Pi VFX documentary. Why am I forgetting the name of it? Anyway, yes. I don't know where I'm going with this. Visual effects are visual effects are very,
very hard and very important and very looked down upon. There was people are like, visual effects are bad, you can always spot them, and CGI is terrible and all this crap. And I was in a conversation with someone the other day. They're talking about David Fincher's show Mindhunter, and they're talking about, why is it so expensive? There's no VFX in that. There's no CGI in that show. I'm like, there is so much CGI in that show you don't even know, because it's all good.
Yeah, it's really easy to throw
time and the money to get it right.
But this is an interesting moment and situation.
Oh, Life After Pi.
Wow.
Thank you,
I was thinking, I knew it wasn't Death of Pi, but I knew that it was
Return of Pi.
I remember that it was a play on the title, and
Revenge of Pi.
I mean, for that movie, which was so VFX heavy, to win so many awards for cinematography, which is annoying because almost all of it was digital effects, and then for the company that made it all to shut down because they were so out of money from making,
and I think to basically posthumously receive the Academy Award and not be mentioned in the just one of the other things that I've seen flooding my feed at the time or right now are all of the breakdowns of the many, many, many visual effect shots from Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Which, surprise, I have not seen the movie. I don't like Top Guns.
No, I don't either, but that's a Top Gun that's pure and good and fun. It's a very wholesome movie.
All right. I'll give it a chance.
Right.
That was a movie that capitalized very highly on the fact that this is all real, and we filmed this, and we
This is a discourse. The point of all of this, guys, is that this is guys and girls, this is a discourse that should be much more complex than it currently is, unfortunately. But each and every one of us, when we participate in this conversation online in a public forum or in the privacy of our own homes, I think we have an opportunity. I won't say responsibility, because that's a little heavy, but we have an opportunity always to influence this conversation in a way that brings the complexities of it into the public forum. And I think that, so that's why we just didn't want to get to talking about visual effects in this movie, and specifically M.O.D.O.K, specifically M.O.D.O.K, by the way, which is my name in my autobiography. We don't want to get into that without first reminding all of us that it's really not fair to look at a shot and say that's bad. And it's objectively, you might be able to say that about a shot, but I think that it's much more interesting and much more productive to ask far more questions than make definitive statements about something, and find out about, what were the behind the scenes situations that led into, I tell my kids all the time, before you say something looks bad, first try to say how hard it looks like it was, how difficult it looks like it would be to make. And
preach, man. Approach things with curiosity.
Amen. So I want to approach M.O.D.O.K with curiosity. I want to approach him.
I don't know if there's any other way to approach him.
10-foot pole.
So this is Corey Stoll, right? The actor?
Yes. And I do not know if this is a reprisal of his Ant-Man role, or if it's just he likes doing Marvel movies.
Well, I mean, we can speculate all on, but it probably has something to do with the multiverse, etc. Maybe it is like a direct. I don't know if it's a direct. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't remember how that dude bites it, or whatever.
I don't know. So the point here, though, is that this is like a squished head inside of a M.O.D.O.K body, and it's fun. We'll come back to M.O.D.O.K, I think we should, for now, take a look through the rest of this trailer, though, and know that M.O.D.O.K, we're not done with you yet, right? So in this movie, we've got this quantum realm, which looks to be basically every asset that Marvel has ever created thrown into a world very like creatively and interestingly. This is tough. I look at this and I think this is really tough to build a realm like this, like a world that somehow feels different than all the other worlds that Marvel has put together. Like, I'm really interested to know what those creative meetings, what the discussions were.
I'm always saying, like, never make 20 movies in the same universe.
You've always said that. Like, for a weirdly long time, you've said that. And you've been proven right. We got our cool Ant-Man effect from the original. I've always liked how...
yeah, the shrinking effect is so good. So it's such a neat way to do it.
Well, and it's such a retro feeling effect too. It feels very... I just like that it feels optical.
I don't remember if I ever... I don't think I rendered a version of it, but our intro sequence, which I think Frigbee Chillweather missed, unfortunately. I did a version with some more of the quantum echoes that happened, but I was worried they were distracting from the performances.
You also had something else that was more distracting from the performances, but it's not your fault that tentacles very quickly lean a certain direction creatively and visually. Unless you design that intentionally. You would spend 8 hours on the phallic tentacle by probably. Michael Crichton's the phallic tentacle. I'm now referencing inside jokes from our Slack that the audience is not aware of, and I'm just going to keep going with it. Hashi, have I passed over anything? I'm trying not to play this in full.
Yeah, I'm watching this. What's interesting to me is that there a problem with this look, and I'm not. Let's see, who am I criticizing? Because someone is to blame.
You didn't.
My eyes do glaze over a bit.
Yeah.
At the fact that we can generate such a rich and detailed image now. And one of the things that I think is really, really important, and it's very clear in different types of films, is which filmmakers are really good at the visual blocking and storytelling, and which possibly rely too much on the editorial department to make some of those choices based on previs that comes in, or shots that basically can get away from the storytelling a little bit. Because
I know from experience, you can have something where as a director, it can be hard to visualize something that, the truth is, as a director, like sometimes you just don't have a vision for something. Like a lot of the time, you don't have a vision for something. That's why you surround yourself. Like if you have the Marvel money, you have a previs department. You have departments and artists. You hire artists that can bring their vision to it. It's visual effects is a weird, lonely place if you've never done it before, or if you just aren't a comfortable. I'm not claiming that Peyton Reed's not a comfortable director. I'm not speaking for anyone on behalf of Ant-Man, but I'm speaking on behalf of myself. I know that it can be a lonely process when you this stuff doesn't look like it looks. We all know this, in early phases, and when you see simulations rendered out, or you see early animations rendered out, from viewport, level renders. And it's really easy to kind of lean on the editorial department and the post department to kind of come up with this stuff. And unfortunately, it's not really their job to oversee the larger picture. Basically, I'm repeating everything you're saying, which is that this stuff's hard. It's so freaking hard to do well.
It's so hard. It is really, there are a lot of lessons that you can take from animation, which I kind of like, because I know that Marvel's initial pipeline when they did the first Avengers movie was to rely on a lot of animation, specifically computer animation pipeline tools, because they've been making movies where you literally have to create every part of it and then including your characters and decide where to place the camera after that, which means that it's really important to start with strong storyboards and strong visual storytelling that really means that even if you were looking at this at a small size, you could tell who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, what visual language describes that. And I will admit, I am a little overwhelmed by Quantumania in ways that parts of Ragnarok were actually really clear to me, or parts of...
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So anyway, I think this was all a response to your answer of what do I see in here that would be fun to recreate as a visual effect. And a movie like this is challenging because it's so much. It's basically this ginormous computer generated environment. So I would actually love to hear.
Technically, it's not ginormous. It's teeny tiny. This is the quantum realm.
Tiny.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
It's true.
I will say there's tons of cool stuff in here. Like, look, a pile of Paul Rudd's, a pile of America's antagonists pulling. For those of you coming late, I'm not going to explain that. Being overtaken by tons of. That's incredibly cool. That's an image that I love. And each of these, like, there's something like this thing especially. I don't even know what's going on here, but this spaghettified.
This I really like.
Yeah. Oh my
String
God.
theory.
Jonathan Majors is friggin'. That's the actor's name, right? I'm worrying that I'm saying, remembering it wrong, but he friggin' rules. I kind of am drawn to the idea here of being more inspired by Ant-Man in this episode. Like, well, I guess like Hashi, I love what I love about Ant-Man, and the first two especially, the action on the tiny scale, which you talked about, Michael. I think that's something that could be fun to roll with. You got any idea? I don't have any ideas though, Hash. Do you got any ideas?
So I think that the two things we should talk about, and audience, please do ask anything that you see from these trailers or are inspired by, because we might be able to take a shot at them today. I would love to take a pass at doing taking some footage that was shot in a regular way, just the way that some of you could, and then trying to make it look more the way Ant-Man looks, where it looks like you're doing this macro photography.
Oh yeah, teeny tiny, because when you're zooming, like when you put your camera lens really close to something, like you're shooting really, really small things, you have a very shallow depth of field. And the other things that happen when you're trying to shoot at a tiny, tiny scale. That's a good idea.
So I can take a crack at some stuff like that, especially with all that we've been learning about depth maps recently. I feel like they could play a good role in doing some things like that. And also our intro, which maybe we could run the speaking portion of our intro again for people who are coming in late. Because
Tell you what,
I feel
let's
like
play it
that
at
could
the
be
end
a
of the
fun...
show. Let's encourage people to stick around, and we'll play it again at the end of the show, if that's cool.
I love it. So we M.O.D.O.Kified ourselves at the beginning of this episode, and that was something that, Seth, I didn't even know you were doing. And then when you showed me that it was an articulated animated face, I was like, "What? How?"
Yeah, that was very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in and show how we made those silly looking M.O.D.O.Ks at the top. So yeah, if I'm checking to see if we have anything. No, that's what we're doing. So how about real quick? I'll give credit to the artist who created M.O.D.O.K, and then we can go from there. That work?
Sounds great.
Here he is. This is M.O.D.O.K. This is this model I found on Sketchfab. This is by this artist Romeu 3D Prints. ROMEU 3D Print. Made this very fun. I am clicking the wrong thing. Whoops. Made this very fun M.O.D.O.K model, which is perfect. And so I'm going to open that up in Cinema 4D and get started replacing us.
And yeah, you can follow along if you're watching this either live or at home later.
I guess I can. No, here it'll open super quick. So let's see. I'm going to open up recent. I've got. It was an OBJ file, and I brought it into Cinema 4D. Made it saved as a Cinema 4D file, and here he is. And it's broken down. It's two different objects. I've got the face, which, let me turn off the armor. That's the face and the hair, and the innards. And then I've got the armor here, which, God, this is just perfect for what I needed to do.
Oh my goodness. I love when something happens to break up perfectly like that.
Absolutely. So I'm going to open a project. We have in our VFX and Chill database, you started a folder a while back called Digital Humans, and in it there are 3D heads of ours. They always get poorly linked because we have this same texture scattered about all over, like all over.
We have this, like just our face skin as splattered all over our directories.
So that's for the eyes. Seth face. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna scoot this over so in Cinema it's better over there.
It's exciting. And I can tell people that the way that we got this 3D model of Seth's head was using I think it's called Avatar 3DSK. I will find the exact thing. If you look up avatarsdk.com, you can run the demo and turn a still image of you into a 3D model like this that perfectly photographically represents Seth Worley.
Yeah, you can. And we have one of Hashi too, which I'll bring in a second to make the Hashi one. So I'm literally just going to copy that and paste it into the Cinema 4D file. Obviously, M.O.D.O.K is much smaller than I am. My head is bigger than even M.O.D.O.K.
Every time you get to direct a feature film, it's bigger and bigger.
Every single time. So if I make this significantly smaller, I'm going to position this in here where I need it to be. And obviously this is funny enough, but I'm
just going to like this is fantastic. You're already there to the film look.
It's so stupid.
The chat is getting quite excited about it, wondering about how you did the hair and such. I will say for the person who suggested Ornatrix, which is a plugin for Cinema 4D that does hair, that's useful for hair and feathers, especially if you do a huge amount of hair stuff. But the native hair system in Cinema 4D is surprisingly powerful for how old it is. Like there is a ton you could do with it, and it works so nicely with third-party renderers like Cycles 4D, and of course with Redshift as well.
That's
and Hashi,
true.
you are getting some love on the Action Movie Kids YouTube channel from a lot of your viewers.
Oh, absolutely. I forgot to say hi to all of my Action Movie Kids over there watching. Thank you for joining the stream. There's a larger chat likely over at the Red Giant YouTube channel in case chat is a part of the experience that you would like to participate in. And otherwise, I'm just going to talk with Seth Worley about these visual effects. And you can watch any of these episodes of VFX and Chill on the Red Giant channel. They'll play live here, so you can see them if you want to throw this on in the background. But thanks for coming, everyone.
Absolutely. So I dropped in a squash and stretch deformer into here, and that's what I'm using to squash my face. And now I'm going to use it also to. You were very kind and gave my model a very thinner chin line area than I actually have. So I'm going to make myself look more realistic here by adding another squash and stretch. Did I use squash and stretch or did I use bulge? I think I bulged it. I'm going to bring in the bulge here and scale this baby down and bring that around to my lower half of my head. There's like everything, there are a million ways to do this, a million right ways, a million wrong ways. I am doing it one of those ways. So let's see if I drop that into here, go to, let's see, strength.
Oh, yes. Here we go.
And I'm actually going to pull my glasses out of the mix here.
That's a good idea.
Come back to them
because the
later.
glasses would still be fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, oh yeah.
There we go. I feel.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's kind of good enough for me, to be honest. Oh, look at! Oh my God, a hair butt back here. Let me figure this out.
A bit of. Oh, interesting.
Because I kind of love how the front looks. So
yeah, just go to the point select mode and select the whole back half and move the center of the thing to the center of your head, and then you can squeeze it.
Yeah. Wow. So click on your head model and then go into point mode. Not on the null, right. On the head, and then you have to just grab that back end and squish it in.
Grab that back end and squish it in. Got it. Thanks, guys. Perfect. What's the best way to select that back end? I guess it would be turn off visible only.
I would just use the rectangle.
Selection.
Yeah, just grab the backside and squeeze it.
Just grab the backside and squeeze.
No, they're gonna. Let's see. Don't do that. Actually, go down to soft selection in the bottom right corner, next to your move tool. There, click on soft selection.
Yeah.
Enable that, And now turn that radius down to probably, probably like 10 or 15 centimeters.
Less than that.
Until basically none of the face is showing up in it, but just the back half of the head is. And now you can do that, and it'll sort of squish everything with you. You dig?
Okay.
And what's kind of cool is in that with the soft selection tool, you can actually open up a curve that defines the relationship of what you're squishing to the subsequent selection. So you can make that kind of curved, like it's a spherical object, or you can make it absolutely flat, like if you're, squishing one side of a square to make a trapezoid thing.
Now, there are some folks in the chat that are suggesting you could use the brush tools in Cinema 4D, which you can use on polygons and stuff to just smush stuff in. So you could also do that, yes. There are multiple ways you could do this.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to, let's see, smooth or pinch or flatten? Which one do we want to do?
I would do move.
Yeah.
Move.
Mm-hmm. And then I would deselect.
Deselect first.
Control Shift A or Command Shift A.
Wait, where's move? Hang on. What are you talking about?
It should look like a
Top one.
Top one, that's draw.
Oh no, lower.
Oh wait, hang on. Are you in the sculpting brushes?
Yeah, I'm on sculpting.
Are you in the sculpting brushes, or are you in the polygon moving brushes? Because there's two sets of brushes.
Oh, I don't know. I was in the sculpting brushes. What am I looking for? These? This? Oh, okay, I see.
No, not those. It's in.
It was the ones you were on. You could use grab.
You could use grab on that one.
All right.
I can't remember what menu they're in because I just grabbed them when I'm working so fast I can forget where they're hiding.
Turn M.O.D.O.K off.
Because I thought it was called move.
Also, Darren Frankovitz in the chat is mentioning that Seth should update at some point to the current version of Cinema 4D, which is 2023.1.3.
Oh, I thought I did. Oh, crap. It is. It's just not in my dock. That's my bad. Thank you for reminding me to do that. Why is this not
if you want a second, I'd be happy to talk a little bit about what I did over here. Just so people can learn about this secondary process. Oh, I am not even sharing my screen, but I will be
Let me know when
in a moment. And I think I'm sending it through.
Okay.
Excellent. So, here's Steamy Seth.
Incredible.
I love this. So on this copy, and I actually did this morning because we did a render of our M.O.D.O.K faces, and this is the hair they had. Sort of this from that free 3D tool, kind of a low-res representation of the hair, and I wanted to have more actual hair on it. And so what I did create was this hair object, which renders a lot more nicely. And this is sort of a low version of what is actually possible to do with Cinema. So I'm going to, let me increment and save and then just delete this hair object altogether, and I'll show you what I did. I grabbed this model, and you can do this with basically any model that you have. I grabbed the polygon select tool and selected this range right here, basically representing the hair. And once you have a selection like this, one thing you can do is you can go up to select and then say store selection, and you'll see that it adds a nice little tag right over here. That is your polygon selection. So if I at any point had deselected these, let me get to if I had nothing selected, I could double click on that and reload this selection. And then from there, it's very, very easy to add hair in Cinema 4D. All you have to do is go to character. Oh no, I did it wrong. Simulate hair objects, add hair. And you've never looked better, Seth. I think it's great. There we go. So this is the default hair, the way it came in. And clearly it needs a little bit of help. I probably went into better detail about this on our Valentina V Halloween episode. But the hair object, you'll see it sprouted from, like a chia pet, right out of that polygon selection in all directions. And what these are called the guide hairs. They don't represent every hair that's going to render. They're literally the guides. Right now, the guide count is very high, but when I'm I'm styling hair, I actually like to have a much lower number. So I'm going to turn this down to maybe 1,000. And that'll give me an idea of the direction of all of these sections of hair. And then this is how fun this is. This was my morning, basically. I got to come into here, add hair to Seth Worley like this, and then go over to the groom menu. And here in groom, you have a brush, and you got a comb, and a clumping tool, and a curler, and some scissors. And Seth, as we always do when we're together in person, I miss, our hair parties, our time together. But what you can do is you can grab a brush tool like this. You can set the radius and also the strength. So I'm going to turn up the brush for the general sculpting. So now I'm just going to kind of do this, start mushing about the hair into a shape that I think it would look good in. So
if you wanted to spend more time on this, you can use the scissors to cut the hair shorter in the back, and you can do all kinds of cool stuff with those hair tools to really, really finesse it the way you want it to be. And keep in mind, what Hashi's working on right now is just the hair guides. He's not actually working on any of the hair itself. You can render the hair as guides, and this could be just there if you wanted to, but at the normal settings and how you usually work, these are just the guides that are going to direct the hair. So it will interpolate the actual hair strands between all of these guides, which makes styling it easier because you're only doing, a hundredth of the number of hair strands, and it also makes simulating faster because you're only simulating 100th of the hair strands.
Look at me there. That's incredible.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, the Chris Franos in the chat says that's way more intuitive than I expected it would be. Yeah, Cinema 4D's hair system is so good.
And this is how I started with Seth this morning, and then this is such a fun part. I'm going to hide Hashi over here just because it's weird. But
it's never weird when you're here.
So we have Seth here, and then I'm in groom mode. I'm grabbing the scissors tool, and now I come in and just kind of go. Give you a haircut. And just like it is, if you've ever cut hair in real life, like if you cut for a shape from the side, as soon as you move to the other side, none of that is hair preserved in any way. So you just kind of keep on rotating your person around. There we go. That's looking a little bit nicer in the back. We'll keep that tight.
Chat is liking the Super Saiyan Seth Saiyan.
But yeah, so we can push that a little bit more. Let's grab this brush again. And I'm going to turn down the strength on it because as I start with broad tools and then get more and more detail, let's give it more of a...
Your different seasons of my life you represent with different versions of the swoosh. Or the swoop.
So right now, I know that you did recently get an actual haircut.
Yes.
But let's see. So what have we got going on here?
This needs a haircut in L.A., Seth. Right there, where the swoop is starting to fold back over on itself.
This is Draco Seth.
You need some more. So you need some frizz and clumping and other stuff going on there, and the hair strands need to be thinner.
Absolutely. This is the first iteration of what you would get with the hair system, and then a lot of the other information. I'll click on the hair object, and you can see that there's the number of guides here, and there's also the number of hairs. So right now, this is doing 50,000 hairs. Just for fun, I'm going to turn this way down for just a teeny bit to 8,000 hairs. I'm going to render it. Now you can sort of see more individually what's going on the screen. If you're going for photoreal, you would obviously do more hairs and smaller. But a lot of that information actually comes from the hair material over here. When I click on the hair material, maybe I can bring this more to the middle of the screen so you can see it. Wait. Here we go. So under attributes, under basic, you can see that you can add things like kink, clump, displace, curl, wave, or anything like that to this. So I definitely want some clump in here. So I will, I'm on, am I on the new one? I am on the new one. Okay. So for the clumping, I can basically go over to it and tell it to clump to a certain degree. Whoops. So here we go. So let's turn up the clumping amount, and you can sort of see in the preview there. And now if I render...
There's a huge amount of control you get, too, over how what it does over the length of the spline. and everything like that. Hashi, I'd put a couple of lights in the scene too, because the hair looks a lot nicer
That's
if you got a
good
couple of
point.
lights in there.
All right, so I think I have
Just
some.
looks so funny.
It's so great. This is a lot of fun. Okay, so I've got. Let's make this a rim light that's a little bigger. I'm going to re-dock this. And Seth, if you've sorted out stuff, you're welcome to take it back anytime. I just wanted to do some hair while we were stalled.
So what I'm thinking is, you're working on the hair. This face is hilarious, right? This is a very funny setup. I was able to get the other parts of me squished into this tiny little canister. But the real fun, I think, is to have that face be talking. So,
oh yes, and the chat was asking about that earlier. There's a couple different people who were saying, "Hey, how'd you get the face to move?"
I used an app called Moves by Maxon, which I'm going to call today Moves by M.O.D.O.K.
Moves by M.O.D.O.K.
Real quick,
because you've got the moves like M.O.D.O.K.
Sorry, no, you continue. I want to hear the rest of this.
Ooh, woo, 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 woo. Moves like M.O.D.O.K. That's what I'm.
So I'm going to screen mirror my phone to my computer. I've done this in the past, and I don't remember if it screws the show up. So I need you all to tell me, because what happens is it blacks out on my whole screen, but puts my phone screen on the computer. Hopefully, you guys should still see the show, and you should still see what's on my phone. Tell me if otherwise. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boop.
And like a child talking to their parents.
We see your phone screen and our faces. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, look at that. This is the Moves by Maxon app.
It's Moves by M.O.D.O.K. So I am going to take my glasses off. I'm going to click this face button here, and I'm going to put it on my face. And this is what my face normally looks like. This is my makeup. I put this grid on my face every day, and it helps. No, I do not. My face looks normal. So I'm going to just say a few things real quick as M.O.D.O.K. Any suggestions on content here? No.
How about
It's
visual
getting a little
effects
choppy, by the way.
artists should work for less, says M.O.D.O.K.
Oh, good God.
I'm just joking.
Hello, I am M.O.D.O.K. I'm moving my face. Ba 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 boo da da ba ba. Done.
Do a
Perfect.
really exaggerated thing.
You're right. I should. I'm going to do it again. Here we go.
Yeah, speak like a big old cartoon.
Goodness, my now. There we go. That work? Cool. No, I can do
Perfect.
one more.
I like it.
Here we go. Ba 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 ba. My name is Seth, and I'm talking with my face really normally.
The happy Seth and angry Seth.
Lion face, lemon face. Lion face, lemon face.
Someone tunes in right now. All right. So now I'll click this little picture down here, and I've got my face.
Wait, how did it put your face in there?
It put my face in there. Now, weirdly,
You
in
put
real
your
life,
face in a computer.
in real life,
took
I
your
don't have a
face
face anymore.
Off.
Yeah.
Oh, the chat was a little slow on their funny suggestions. Sorry, Nick Smith, but that would have been a good one. Nick Smith wants Seth to say, "We shot this entirely practically."
Okay, I'll do it. Here we go.
There's still time. There's still time.
These are practical effects. No filter.
Excellent.
Here we go.
Well done. So it's that fast if you decide you need another take. And look at that, your face.
It's there.
We took
So
your face off.
very cool here. I am going to click. Hopefully this doesn't give away information about my computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to share this part because I don't know if it's actually going to share like IP addresses and things that I don't really want people to know.
People would be sending you all sorts of facial capture data that you don't.
It's so true. So
Right into.
just so you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to be pressing the Cinema 4D icon down here in the bottom, a second to the left. And I'm going to undo the screen mirroring real quick. I'm going to stop that. So I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to do send to IP. And I'm going to open up this is actually might be where it shows my information. Let me cut to you real quick and come, or I'm just going to go right here and then come back if it's back when I know it's
Good.
normal. Let's see, window.
Yeah. So yeah, if any of you joined us late for any reason, Seth and I are making visual effects inspired by Ant-Man Quantumania. And specifically right now, Seth is showing you all how to use the Moves by Maxon app. It's a mobile app that connects right to your Cinema 4D, where Seth just performed a live facial capture that captured his face, a moving mesh, and the texture of the video that he was just filming, which is really cool. So this is about to go directly into this program. Oh, look at it. It's right there.
I'm going to hit send, and here it comes. This is the new one right there. It just showed up. And now I double-click on it, and it shows up in my project file. So
look at that. It's right there, your face.
It's right there. And if I play it, it will play. There it is. Let me turn off this vibration tag here. Oh, I guess I don't have to delete it. I can just turn it off. Position and rotation off. So that's my face talking. Now, I need to put this.
I'm just going to make a note that so your head's moving around and bobbing around in there.
Correct.
Because your head was moving around.
Simple solution. I'm going to put my glasses back on so I can read this. I click on this file here that it brought in. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to unclick rotation and unclick offset down here in the object properties. And now it's just a stationary face.
You're just a mirror on the wall. Look at that.
That is so handy.
And you know what's just as handy?
Boxes take away all that crap. Because I was about to say maybe you should shoot with a tripod, but no need.
No, and what's just as fancy and handy is that I can go over here and say set timeline to frame count, so it automatically makes this timeline now last the extension, the length of the performance.
They thought of everything.
Literally everything. So what I have to do.
And just a quick note, while the things that you just unchecked under object, under rotation and offset, just mentioning if you needed to animate, say, like a spaceship flying around and landing, you could always film yourself with the Moves by Maxon app, moving your head around in the manner in which you want to animate something and land it on the surface.
You
Take
definitely
just
could.
that data and have yourself a beautiful little thing.
Wait a minute. Is that what you want me to do? You want me to wait? So if I, so
mocap my face like a spaceship, like one of your French girls.
Hang on. So if I turn this stuff back on, is it as easy as dropping it into the container? Like
I do think so. I think that Moves by Maxon container is what
I drop some glasses in there, and I move them.
There we go.
Over here onto my face.
Perfect size.
Perfect size. Doobity doop doop.
It's history in the making right here, folks.
And then I just hit play. They're going to move. Nope. Hang on.
Why not?
What if I move them into the face mesh? Jesus, Louises.
There it is.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Okay. Because I think the face mesh there has a tag on it that is a Moves by Maxon tag, right?
Correct. It does. It has
that. So yeah, the
things.
tag there is what is creating the motion there for the object. Look at I want that mesh right there. The wide open mad or the screamy Seth.
That's like
so we got to have
this is using ARKit. This is using Apple's ARKit to make it work. So yes, Axon Media Seattle. It is using Apple's ARKit, and it does not just work on faces. With Apple's ARKit 3, you can now record entire body movements in Moves by Maxon as well. So you can do a whole body movement if you wanted to have arms and legs. But
we did it live on a show actually a little while ago. What show was it? The Street Fighter episode. That's me reacting. Failed. That. God, look at this, though, everyone. This is wild.
Stupid. So I need to replace this face, but I need to keep the hair, obviously. Wow, I'm sorry. Adam Driver? Is that you? No. Adrian Brody? Adam Driver Brody? Who I don't know.
Jude Brody.
Brodeo. Into his nose. Okay, now we're devolving.
Either way, so what are you going to do? This head is just one object in there.
Yeah, it is. So really, what I need to do here is let's turn off. Let's turn off this armor for a quick hot second. And
I love it. It's just.
Are you about to drop your face into your mesh? Yes.
I'm going to drop the demat. Well, I'm going to put, well, yes, I'm going to do something. Hang on. Well, Michael, you might be suggesting an easier way to do this, but what I was going to do was...
I was just going to say, put that as a child of your face in the hierarchy.
Yes, but I am also going to have to get rid of my face, though, too, my previous face, because we can see through the mouth of this guy.
Like the famous movie.
Yeah, just use the traffic lights.
Took off Nick Cage's face to put on John Travolta's. You got to take John Travolta's face off before you put the other face on.
Wait, you said traffic? What are traffic lights, Michael? What are you talking about?
Okay, so do you see those little light to the side of your deformers where they're ticked so you can't see them in the viewport, that little red dot?
What did I just do? Oh, real quick, this is important
perfect.
to know. I scaled this guy down in not an object mode. If I scale it down in object mode, then it takes the eyes with it. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, you know those little red and green things you tick? Right now you have them ticked on your bulge and your squash and stretch deformer. You got the little red thing ticked to say do not show in viewport.
Ticked on my bulge? Yeah.
Right there. Right. So, no, that's the turn it off, but that right there. Those are called the traffic lights. If you hold Alt or Option on a Mac when you click it, it does both, turns off the visibility in viewport and in render.
Right.
So you could just hide your head using the traffic light.
Michael, you ready for the problem?
Yes.
The problem is that if I do that here, boop, boop, I don't have hair anymore. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I just split the hair off.
That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So I am going to, it's done. No notes. It's perfect. Exactly as it is. But I'm going to cut my hair off, put it there, and then drop it into here, just like Michael said. And we're going to see what happens. In fact, real quick, why don't I just to check and see, I'm going to drop this into Seth's face, turn off Seth's face real quick and just see what it looks like if I turn.
You have to turn it. Turn it off and then turn the green lights on the Moves from Maxon.
Got it.
So,
I love imagining
that has to be red, and then you have to turn
being...
that one green. Go down, turn it green. There you go.
Sorry, it's very small.
Now Justin Leduc and Jason Murphy are both wondering how. It's so good.
This has become a behind the scenes of Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
Oh man,
Tweedledee edition.
Dotson, we've got Dotson
Seth,
here.
We did not realize how much mileage you get out of larger face expressions. We were speaking the way that we normally speak for the intro that you saw to this episode, but I can tell you, the exaggerated speech is making all the difference here, for me at least.
Oh, 100%. Oh, shoot. 100 to 150,000%. This is Wayne Knight playing Seth Whirling.
Your cheeks just squishing out of the side of the thing.
Oh, it's so fun.
Oh my gosh. This is what it would really look like if I put this thing on. Now let me turn on these vibration tag here, and now I'll just be flying around.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Someone must have made a Halloween costume that is a M.O.D.O.K helmet, right? And
with just a black outfit, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey,
wow,
Daniel. Greetings from Mexico to you. Greetings from the U.S. to you in Mexico. Justin and Jason are asking, would it be how easy or hard would it be to integrate the interior of a mouth, teeth, tongue, etc., onto the model, or the built-in helpers that came with the mocap? What you would actually want to be doing with this mocap data, if you weren't goofing around like we are, you would want to use espresso or constraint tags or other things to have it move your modeled mesh, because usually you're going to be doing this on a character, most likely not the actual face of you in most cases. So you would just be using this to drive other things. It's just a little more complicated of a rigging type setup for character animators to work with.
It's possible that Noseman has done some exploration on that. I know that Noseman did some stuff with Rococo and did some other stuff with I think an ARKit compatible facial capture thing. I don't remember.
It's like
I don't know
Wayne Knight meets Bobcat meets Bradley Cooper at a weird moment in this animation. Like, it's
amazing. Like, I mean, I'm just going to mention like that. That amount of facial animation is remarkable, and it's also the texture of your face. Let's stuff some hair in there.
I mean, this is like. I mean, this could pass in the 90s.
Can we please? would you please just add a disc and attach it to there? A disc that basically fills that crown.
Oh.
I am.
No. Just you could do a sphere object
Or a
just
sphere.
in hemisphere mode.
Sphere object
That
in
works.
hemisphere mode. In the color
Yeah,
of...
just do a ping pong ball where your head is supposed to be.
Okay. But I'm thinking texture-wise, how am I going to be able to...
Don't worry, we'll get this.
And to
All
go back to the sphere and make it a hemisphere instead.
Well, fine.
Can't you select it like once it's?
No,
Oh, did you mushify it
Bring it back.
Oh,
then
well,
go to
that's what I'm
sphere,
saying. Let
and
me
then
just do
in the
this, and then I'll
drop-down
turn it into
Well,
a
it's there.
hemisphere.
in the drop down section?
Yeah, why do I
Yeah.
need to go back to it?
There you go, and type.
hemisphere.
Yeah, I could have
Oh.
done that later, Michael. You didn't mean make me go backward.
No, I meant go click back on it so you could
I turn off
do
my
the thing. I
tags,
didn't mean
though.
go back in undo levels.
We have to go back. Lost. Classic show. Ages perfectly.
All right, perfect.
I'm look. This looks like several '90s characters. Like I feel like this character would show up like, "Hey kid, what you doing here in the quantum realm?" My
No,
Took
just
my
scale
wife.
that up and down. I just want to see that scaling up and down, just like a little warbly brain inside this thing.
I could put a deform. Yeah, I could put like a
Give it
fish
wiggle
deformer on
deformer,
this and
so
just give it like a.
Oh gosh. It's so good. I was talking with the amazing host of Max on Color this morning, and
It's his full
was
name.
mentioning we've got to do a Krang now that we have this set up.
Krang. No, Krang. That's Ninja Turtles, isn't it?
It is from Ninja
That's
Turtles.
the stomach-
but
the stomach
I feel
brain?
like we're in the zone.
We 100% are. That's the stomach brain. Is Krang?
Hmm.
Okay.
Though I think in later iterations, Krang became a race of, or like a techno race of robots or something like that.
Ah.
I didn't
Michael
follow, but I
Crichton's
remember
Krang.
this was explained to me by like a 4-year-old.
Hey,
It's like
I love.
Krang is not a muscle man with a brain in his tummy. He's a whole army of like robot people with fedoras or something.
Mojo Jojo, that is being suggested by Nick Smith in the chat as what this character could be. We're also in the vicinity of making. Speaking of really cool characters, have either of you seen Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur? The new Marvel cartoon. Oh
No.
my goodness. It is beautiful. The artwork and the animation style is so different from a lot of the current animation stuff that's out there. It's just 2D animation, but like they're playing with it and it feels a lot more creative than a lot of the
What is it
CalArt
called again?
style.
I'm sorry.
Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur. She's a girl who lives on the Lower East Side of the city, and you know they mention the Avengers that they're not going to come down here to our podunk little area of the no one cares part of the city, and so she's like, I've got to try to save us from this bad thing that's happening, and it's a whole thing that happens. She's very into science and technology stuff. It's very cool. Like I was just seeing like the first part of the first episode, but that's just the visual style of it is just so much
it's
fun.
super comic booky. It's like, wow,
You have it
it's
on your
cool
screen?
looking.
No.
Say again?
Is it on your screen? And I'm gonna go.
It is on my screen. I can switch the quality to higher.
Oh, that's fun.
Let's look at that. So very,
feels like-
very comic book.
That feels like late
Ink drawn.
'90s.
Invader Zim.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe we can visit this on our animation part 2, which is coming up in 3 short years.
Anytime now. So
We have to hand draw every frame of a 2-hour live stream. What do you want?
the whole thing should be animated 100%.
All right, so I want to go back to your Eggman situation here. Can you convert that to geometry if you like the shape now? And now let's go up to your simulate menu and add hair.
Hair.
Yes. Okay,
It
I
is
love
finished.
this. That's already. All right, so click on groom and just do a quick swoop. Quick swoop it up a little bit like a troll doll's hair.
Wait, where's groom?
And maybe actually on the guides, make their length longer. Make that like 200.
Oh. How much hair are you going to give this thing?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I meant 20.
This is a small scale
There we go.
thing.
Okay, now go to groom.
Which is
Up at the top, like in one of your layouts.
doesn't appear to be. Oh, I see. Up here. Sorry, layouts.
There you go. And now you can grab the brush tool and like slightly comb it up like a
I see.
troll's hair. You can hold either Alt or Option and use the middle mouse button to change the size of your brush tool live there, or you can click on the brush tool and see its properties down in the bottom corner if you want to change the radius of it.
Wait, I can't Alt Option and do what?
And then use your middle mouse button and drag
yeah,
left
I'm a
or
Mac
right.
Pro. Bro, I don't have a middle mouse.
Oh, I'm so fancy. I have
Maybe
fewer
it's-
capabilities.
What do I do? Michael, what do I do?
It's over there on the right. You can see the radius.
On the right
under
side, you have the
attributes.
radius, but there's a keyboard shortcut on Mac, and I can't remember what it is because I've never used it on a Mac. That's not true. Rarely used it on a Mac.
You're on a PC all the time, Michael?
All the
I am
time.
now. My 2011 MacBook Pro has it's been out of use for a while now. I have not replaced it because I started doing a lot of 3D stuff, and GPU rendering was a thing, and so I just never bothered to get a new laptop that had, or a new Mac that had anything, because bang for the buck PC was just better at the time. This is pre M1.
And I'm really, my whole argument has always been, I'm a writer-director. I don't need to live in hell for my job.
Yeah, and I'm doing 3D animations and freelance visual effects and
Exactly.
motion design. I'm like, I need a machine that can do that. I don't need to write.
I'm a writer-director, and this is what I'm doing for a paycheck right now.
How do you spend your day? Like this. All right. So go to your hair object. I feel like this is close enough.
Excuse me? Oh.
And then down under dynamics. Let's do some fun stuff. Open up the properties there.
Open up my properties on my hair object.
All right.
It
So
doesn't
let's.
sound weird.
There should be one. There's a dial called rest hold. So right now it'll consider this the rest position. So dial that to like 60 maybe or 70.
Yeah.
Or what?
Let's try there to begin with.
Oh.
And now go ahead and play your thing. Oh, deselect your object and turn your vibrate tag on if you disabled it.
Yeah, and you have to get out of the hair object.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now if you go back to your hair object, you can mess with, you can turn the rest hold down. Oh, one other thing that's really cool is the, if you turn up the drag on it.
Wow. There's a fine line on that rest hold.
There really is. Turn up drag a bit. It's on 2% now. Turn that up to like, I don't know, 50, and then turn your vibrate tag slower but further on the position.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see this. I want to see this. I want to see mermaid egg hair.
Hang on, here we go.
Oh, yes. Ursula hair.
That's
underwater.
That's Syndrome from The Incredibles.
That is Syndrome. Okay, so yeah, go back to the hair and see what happens as you play with the stiffness factor and the rest hold amount.
So turn down stiffness.
Yeah, and these are such weird tolerances depending on the scale of your scene.
I think
you almost just need to kind of.
I think you can adjust that live while it's playing if you get out of the hair tool, and then go back to select it. I think.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you switch tools to a different tool, like just hit spacebar, for example.
Okay.
So there. Now you can adjust your stuff.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Live.
What?
So click back on the hair object.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Now you can adjust all these
that's
things
great.
live. Johnny Bones Director in the chat says, Nerd alert, in the comics, Krang was a whole alien race, but was reduced to one singular character in the 80s cartoon, then the origins ping-ponged depending on the iteration of the IP.
You heard it here first. Thank you, Johnny Bones Director.
And while we're here, Enya Wed Black says, you guys seem to do character stuff most weeks, but have you considered doing things with particles?
Welcome to our
fluid,
career.
Smoke, fire, or devastation effects. Well, actually, no. Most of the visual effects work that these two have actually done involves particles. It's just they're having more fun this way. But there was a fire episode on here not that long ago, and the link for that is about to show up in the chat.
If we want to do some particle stuff, I can.
I was about to ask Hashi.
Yeah, if you want to switch over to me, I can show you what I was going to do, and then I'm gonna move away from it real quick. Okay, so what I was gonna do, and I'll do this really quickly.
I recognize this guy.
Is that, you might recognize this gentleman from our very first episode of 2022 with Grant from Film Learnin'. So here's just a regular piece of footage, this dude running around. And I wanted to show off a couple of filters that come with Universe. So I'm going to go into my effects, Red Giant Universe blur panel. Oh, no, is it the stylize? Yes. So under Universe Stylize, we have this effect called Shrink Ray. And Shrink Ray is really fun because what it does is it creates a tilt shift effect that you can kind of customize around your piece of footage. So what I can do is I can create this sort of tilt shift effect around this character where I can dial up the amount of blur around him to simulate sort of a shallow depth of field. Now, this isn't a perfect example for this. There are better pieces of footage to work with something like this. But what I was going to show off is that if you took this Shrink Ray, which is more meant for, I don't know,
like wide landscape shots.
Yeah, let me see. What was it called that we made this VFX getting started, maybe? Sweet. Footage. All right, here we go. Let's find one of our... here we go. So here is this exciting chase sequence. Now, say you were doing an Ant-Man style movie and you wanted this to look more like a miniature toy car situation. You would add that same effect, Shrink Ray, and its default setting actually is pretty right for something like this. So you can see this one little indicator I'm moving right here moves the point of focus around. I'm going to turn up the blur amount to exaggerate it even more. And I'm going to turn the focus height a little bit lower. So now you have a very small area
Seth's
of the screen.
Computer seems to be struggling with this, by the way, Hosh, because everything kind of froze for a second.
Oh, it did?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, with the hair?
It's probably because I'm running cinema and doing the hair stuff. I'll stop.
Sure.
Sorry.
No worries. But I can't. But yeah, basically you get it. It's a customizable tilt shift effect kind of thing. So
that really does make it look like that car is tiny.
Now it looks amazingly like a little like stop mo thing now. And if you were to combine, here I'll do a couple of keyframes. Let's do 2 keyframes, one there and one here, like that. And then I'll tell this whole thing to be. I'll do the posterize time. Posterize or posterize? Posterize.
Posterize.
Pasteurize the time to 8 frames per second. And now
Pasteurize.
Now look at this loveliness. And now I have this thing that feels like a cute little like stop mo short, just because it changes the depth of field to make it look like you're looking at these macro objects.
You can also, instead of posterizing time,
is just very, very, really, really straightforward.
Now, instead of posterizing time, you could also add a camera shake to that was like very, very granular, like a lot of high frequency, but very tiny amount of shake.
Oh, most definitely.
So it felt like you were holding, holding a camera and pointing at a very small object. So every movement was more significant.
I do like that.
This is an easy way to do it, but is there Could you use things that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks on this show?
Definitely. So I'll make a duplicate of. Let's continue with this piece of car footage since it seems to work well. I'll rename this one the Shrink Ray. So that is a straightforward universe effect. You can apply it right to anything. And just to illustrate how cool it is, again, I do really want to find a landscape photo. I swear that we've had them.
We point out that if you're interested in learning more about Shrink Ray and seeing some very gorgeous examples of it in use, the link is in the chat.
Hash, I have a landscape image if you want it. It's got an object in it, but
let's see. Oh, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for my universe getting started footage because I knew I had a specific piece of stock footage for Shrink Ray. So I'm going to find it. It's somewhere, and I'm going to find it, and I'm going to be so happy. This is everybody's favorite part of the show is the looking through. Here we go. This is the one I use in the darned tutorial. This piece of footage.
Big cityscapes are good because there's all these people walking around. Totally.
So check this out. Just at its default settings, let's add Shrink Ray. And look, it's a teeny tiny little
immediately
city.
Looks like a teeny tiny model. That's such a good shot.
It's so cool. And so to go with what Seth was mentioning earlier, you could customize the blur amount because I want this like intersection kind of in focus, and then I can rotate the tilt shift so it looks like it's that plane right there is in focus. And now I can take this whole thing and let's add a top adjustment layer that has some posterized time, and we'll posterize the time to 8 frames per second. Maybe actually let's do 10 frames per second. And above that effect, I'm also going to add some camera shake. And under this, we can just manually do this. Shake controls, let's make the amplitude like 5 by 5 pixels. Let's leave the rotation allowed on there. And the frequency, let's make it like 12. So it's faster than the frame rate is going to even be. I'll move the posterized time to be the last one there because we don't want it to get that. So here. So now if I play this back, okay, so 10 was obvious, or 5 by 5 was obviously a lot. Let's just turn that all the way down to 1 by 1.
I think the rotation.
Oh, it's it is the rotation doing that. Sorry.
And just a reminder, if you want to see a really cool scene that was given this kind of effect in post, I don't think it was even planned to be this way, was this the rowing scene from The Social Network.
Great example.
And from what I understand, the reason for this whole look, and I could be wrong, was that Fincher was just unsatisfied with the amount of crowds they were able to get. And the VFX themselves were like, I don't know if something he was dissatisfied with how it looked, and so somebody's idea was to give it this tilt shift effect, which had all these thematic implications to the scene as well, and made it a really memorable sequence.
Now that's one of the reasons it's cool to come from a background in visual effects when you go to directing, because you can figure out really cool things to do, and also probably know how much work what you're doing is.
I mean, that's so cool. I mean, it's just like you've got this normal shot from a top of a building, but now it's suddenly applying Shrink Ray makes it look like this whole thing is shrunk down. It's tiny little models just because our brain says, oh, this is a shot with a macro lens, obviously.
Yeah, so like clearly like security footage or whatever, and then just turn those back on, and it's a teeny tiny model from like a coffee table book.
So those of you out there who
saturation helps too.
If you're a director and you don't, you're afraid of visual effects, you don't do it. Like, it benefits to know because it gives you all the tools to be able to make really cool and interesting things that can help you creatively. You
too can
do that.
So anyway, you were hinting earlier, Seth, at a different approach to this type of a shot, and let's dive into that, shall we? I'm going to make a new comp with this piece of footage, and let's find a cool frame like this. And I'm going to make a duplicate of my layer, and then I'm going to apply the effect Depth Scanner. Now, let me close out Cinema before I do this. This is a video card heavy plugin. So now we'll dive back in here, and let's add Depth Scanner and hope for the best. Yay! Look at this. We had a very, very fun episode on depth maps. And if you did not see it, you're missing out. It's a cool one. This is a plugin called Depth Scanner. It runs on the Midas depth algorithm, which means that before it comes up with this image, it is being sized down to something like 320 by 320. So you may notice that it is not a super high fidelity look, but they have been improving this plugin over time to create something like this, which is crazy cool. And one thing that you may be familiar with from doing CG renders or something like that is that there are all sorts of things you can do with a depth map. Check out that episode for some of our exploration. But today,
The link is in the chat.
An Ant-Man themed thing that you could do with it is I'm going to put this down here on the bottom. I'll rename this one the depth. And let's see.
Oh, Seth, can you scooch us to the other side so we can see what Hashi's doing?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you.
Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and just pre-render out the depth from this.
Now, Hash, while you pre-render, I'm going to ask
depth.
you, what's your plan for this blur that's coming up?
So I want to use, I'm going to try a couple of things. One is the camera blur.
That's my
It's
favorite.
the standard from After Effects. So now we've rendered out the depth, so we have a nice matching set. Got the footage up here, and let's rename that footage. And we have our depth, and they're both just a piece of footage, and I can delete the one with depth scanner, so we don't have to be calculating it live. So if I find a fun frame like this, one of the cool things you can do on this piece of footage, I don't even need to see the depth map, but I can go up here and add blur and sharpen camera lens blur, and it blurs everything. But if you go up here, there's a blur map that you can utilize. And if I do this, I can select the depth layer. And it may not be super obvious what's happened yet, but watch as I turn up the blur radius a little bit. You'll notice that parts of the image are blurring and other parts
It's
aren't.
so satisfying every time.
And then what's this? The blur focal distance is a slider right within camera lens blur? I never knew that.
Do it.
And look, you can take this slider and watch as I move this slider through.
Rack focus.
Dun, dun,
Look
dun, dun, dun,
at
dun, dun,
that.
dun. It's Ant-Man off shot from Ant-Man. It looks so good.
So now, yeah, just by animating this blur focal distance, you can get this crazy. Let's see, let's set a few keyframes. Let's set the cars in focus here. Let's roll back a little bit and just adjust the focus down to the car again. And you can see the cool thing about this is you're getting a
Everything.
really cool hexagonal blur back here. And you could even play with things like, I love like dialing up the gain a bunch in the back of a blur. Oh, let me turn the threshold down because it's a little bit dark back. Yeah, like you can get
Too much.
that was a little bit too much. But as you can see, you can pull these different shaped bokehs out of here by messing with the threshold and kind of dialing up the gain of the background, which can be a lot of fun too for a stylized look. Let me just add a few more keyframes to keep this on the car in the foreground. And I could rack to that car in the background at any time, but I don't wanna.
And you can't make me.
So let's see, let's get to the front here and let's dial our blur focus distance, a little bit closer. Look at this. I can blur just the very front of the car. And now we have this beautiful, like Fincher-esque from that sequence that we were just seeing,
So
a
good.
very nice blur.
David Fincher's a very nice blur.
David Fincher is a nice blur. Like you meet him, it's over too quickly.
That was
and you're like,
apostrophe S, like possessive of his film. Like it was the new film from David Fincher. Although it sounds
So-
more like a Coen Brothers title.
Now this is this is a ton of fun to do, and one small drawback is that as you'll notice, one of the things that is sort of an artifact of this is that when you're using an artificial lens blur, let's take a look at the depth map by itself again. We're utilizing this map as what areas to blur how much. And one problem with a sharp drop-off like this is that this area is going to be in focus, this area is going to be out of focus, but as these pixels right next to the car are defocusing, they will create kind of a halo fringe of the car. So that's one small drawback to this technique. And I was actually working on a short that I have not finished. I probably will never finish it.
No way. Are we going Venom today?
From the Action Movie Kids channel.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I'm going to see if I have it. Because we're streaming to Action Movie Kids today, you might as well get a little preview of this.
While you look for it, I used this technique earlier when show prep, messing around with the film Titanic.
Titanic.
So, Titanic, I barely know it. So this is the original shot frame from Titanic. This is with the depth map stuff
made
added.
to look like the model that was actually filmed at the time.
Seth.
Yeah.
You can't do this. That Titanic is unshrinkable.
All right.
Yes.
Michael's gone for a little while on the show. I'm sorry. He had a quick family emergency. I killed him. But he'll be back as soon as we have an update on his status. You found that file yet, Hush?
No.
Well, that's too bad.
What did I do with this file?
Nobody knows.
No one knows.
Anyway.
All right. Those shots look beautiful like that. That's so cool. Like, look at this. That's an
Looks really
amazing
good. That
image.
looks really good. That really looks like a tiny ship model.
Right, it's really funny, and I can't decide. Like when I tried to speed it up and it didn't. What made it not look right was the water. This would take a little more work to make look like it was happening on a small scale, like fast, because water doesn't scale. You can't like slow down water and make it look bigger, and you can't speed up water and make it look smaller. It's this, and ILM came up with 1,000 different solutions to this when they were shooting water for early optical visual effects, and I don't remember what any of them were because Cinefex was discontinued.
I mean, some of the shots in Titanic. We were just watching the.
Where's this voice
the
coming
special
from? I thought Michael was dead. I thought I killed him. All right, you're back. Sorry.
We were just watching the special on, whatever many years since Titanic, where James Cameron and I think with Discovery or History Channel or I don't know, whatever, we're looking at some of the things from the movie, like could Jack have survived? They got like actual stunt people and put him in a cold pool with a floaty boat, like door piece and stuff like that. Anyway, I was looking at some of the shots in the Titanic. I was like, the water still doesn't look right on some of the model shots in the Titanic. Like the scale, it does still feel off sometimes.
It's really difficult. And a lot of the time you film with a miniature and then try to enhance with stock elements at scale. And it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's an easily betrayed look.
Easily
Bringing
betrayed.
up Titanic, every time I think of Titanic, I still miss the old Red Giant plugin Tsunami because they did use it on Titanic for a couple of shots.
They used
Oh my
Tsunami on
goodness.
Titanic? I didn't know that.
They did.
I didn't know that either.
Incredible.
Titanic,
Alright,
for those who don't know, was an old Red Giant tool that simulated ocean surfaces. Well, simulate's the wrong word, but created ocean surfaces, and it was very slow, but it was very cool, and I
I'm
miss
pretty sure I had a Tsunami preset on the now defunct Red Giant People.
Ooh, yeah.
Speaking of things I miss,
Man,
Hashi, is this the same car you added a third eyeball to?
It is, and that is what they are called.
Can you at least please pop that up for just a second?
Please do it.
It's one of my
While you
favorite things
find
you've
it,
ever done.
while you find it, here is my Tsunami preset that I made on Red Giant People. This was made with Red Giant Tsunami. This is a cool plugin.
Yeah.
It's basically Trapcode
I
Mirror
miss
now.
it.
Like, we could do this with Mirror.
We could do this with Mirror. But they had like sky stuff too. Like
Yeah,
you could put a sun and a sky and it would reflect off the water. You could do a moon and like Johnny Bones director says they used Tsunami on the Death on the Nile promos.
Hey.
And Streamcatcher Society was at the Oscar party at Digital Domain in Venice when they won. We got a lot of cool folks in the chat.
Oh man, Tsunami
We always have
was
cool people
was
in the
fun for
chat.
that stuff.
If
And
you're
Dr.
cool
Fox
in the
is
chat,
mentioning there is a
give us a
plugin
shout.
called Frischluft. Very handy.
Hey, are you cool in the
See.
chat? Make yourself known. Just say, I'm cool in the chat. I want to see how many of you
Yeah,
are cool.
chat folks, tell us if you're cool.
This
All
looks
right,
so
so,
stupid.
yeah,
Hash.
here's-
What a
here's the
stupid
shot.
engineering.
Here's my. So you might be like, what's up with that shot? And what's up with the shot is I'm using Universe Spot Clone Tracker, which is
VFX
our
Spot Clone
amazing
Tracker.
VFX suite. Oh yeah. Way to correct in unison. That was amazing.
I know. I'm sorry. Michael, you got this.
Spot Clone Tracker is a great way to track headlights or other 2-point things because you can track 2 simultaneous points. And in this case, it's tracking this point, but projecting this point to this point. You can set all of that stuff up here. And, oops, I moved it for that one frame. But check it out. It's so fun. So yeah, you can do stuff like this. But what I was going to show back here is that if you wanted to, we do have the technology, and I did this in an Action Movie Kid short that I couldn't find on my directory right now. If you decided you wanted a nice clean edge for your object like this, you could roto brush it out, and this car I think would roto brush pretty successfully. So I'm going to. I don't know why I decided to go with the whole 206 frame shot instead
You
of
did.
select from it.
Hey, it was worth it.
Well, it was worth it. I'm going to press stop because at least this part of it'll be frozen, right? So
Yes.
let's go back to our comp, and now we have the car kind of rotoed. We can dial up reduce chatter to get kind of a cleaner edge on that. I'm going to set the end of the comp right here and trim the comp to the work area, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let me disable my camera lens blur for a second and come back to here where we have our footage, and we want to fix that halo that was appearing around the car. Just as a preview, let's save this first frame with that halo so we can see what it looked like. So yeah, you can see that like this mirror is getting blurred out into that area, and the car's brights are getting blurred out where they wouldn't naturally. So I'm going to, let's take a screenshot of this version. And then up here, I'm going to disable the depth effect. And then I'm going to use this roto brushed copy as an inverted alpha matte for this piece right here. Just like that. Over here, I've got my content aware fill window, and I'm going to dial up the alpha expansion to maybe, let's see, it didn't quite get it in a couple of places, like right there. So I'm going to dial this up to like 17 pixels. Why not? And then we're going to, we're going to run some content aware fill, everybody. Are we ready?
It should go longer. I need to really make that go longer.
All right. But yeah, what's crazy is that on a live stream, this is a reasonable effect to even do. So obviously content aware fill, if you don't know, is the tool where you use a negative alpha, punch out a section of a piece of footage, and let After Effects try to repaint in what it thinks would have been there. So traveling shots are great for content aware fill because it has examples of what the pixels look like before and after something pretty well. So I've got a good feeling about the way a lot of this will work.
Well, and the good thing about this shot is you really don't need it to be pixel perfect because it's just going to be helping to feed the blur with the correct colors.
Precisely. So look at this. So with some reasonable degree of confidence and with
Okay, some of that is
1
really good.
minute, some of it is really good.
That
The
shot's
reason
terrible. But
you could make
the
this,
frame, but the
and
rest
you
is
could
great.
make this better by giving it like 2 guide frames. If it had had a guide frame for the first frame and guide frame for the end, it would know what pixels it could take from other parts of the video to blur there. And if this didn't work for you, you could use the amazing 3D plane stamp tool. But tutorial on that one very soon, I promise.
I've been using it all over my movie.
All over. So let's just kind of undo a couple of things we've done here. I'm going to stop using the track matte of that cut out car. So let's just disable that, say no matte, and let's bring the content aware fill down here and put it on top like that. So now I can take these two things and let's see, which way do I want to do this? We'd already done the camera lens blur effect on this piece of footage, and it has some keyframes on it, I think. So yes, it does have keyframes. So I'm going to copy this whole effect with its keyframes and place it on the top layer, which, as you'll recall, is just the car by itself. And now I can apply the camera lens blur to it. And what we should get is... Why do I see a halo from this? Oh, I'm going to be upset now. Placement center matte channel.
I think you're just seeing the car itself being blurred out into that area. I think you're good.
Is that it? Okay. So the idea is meant to be okay.
But you just need to take off the blur from the background and put it on an adjustment layer above the fill layer. Mm-hmm. And
so I'm going to do exactly like Michael said. Disable this effect down here. Put it on an adjustment layer here. So what we have independently going on is this background with the content-aware fill piece has an adjustment layer above it. The adjustment layer is doing the tilt-shift effect to everything below it. And so here, instead of blurring the, let's see, I'll turn this off. When the car is there, it has bright pixels of the car to blur out there. When it's not there, it's the darker pixels of the road. So now if I have my car layer on top, which also has a matching camera lens blur, it should be
fairly naturally blurred, yeah.
All right, so before this is what it looked like, that little halo around the car, and after it gets kind of removed.
Much better.
All right.
And real quick, to answer your question, Chris Franos says no one has accused them of being cool. Out jogging pictures. Mom says they're cool. Killer Studios is cool. Streamcatcher Society says they're cool in another chat. Motion Stasis is chilled to -265. Darren Frankovitz is so cool. Someone is telling Chris Franos that they are actually kind of cool.
I love that you're giving us a full update. This makes me happy.
Everyone did all the work to say that they're cool. And I just wanted to pass it out. Johnny Bones Director is cool, LOL. And Bobby Giles says they are decently cool.
Bobby Giles. It's a good name, Bobby Giles.
Oh, my goodness. I love the love spreading around. See, we asked people to show up with, with their best selves, and they did.
And they did.
I appreciate it.
There
are 127 people across our channels watching right now.
Oh, my goodness. 127 of you. Welcome. Thank you so much. And we've got the biggest crowd of people chatting over on the Red Giant channel in case you want to find this same stream on the Red Giant channel. Anyway, I got completely distracted from what I was even going to do. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, I was going to create the quantum realm with trap code.
I really, really do want to see how you make those really cool particle kind of look that you had in the intro.
That was stock, wasn't it?
That was stock.
I'm more interested in how the
how would you make
were reacting with the background. I'm not that interested in that part. I want to see how the supercomp works with it, but we need particles to play with in the first place. And if you don't have stock footage,
that's right. Let's create some quantum realm, baby. I'm creating a new HD comp. I'm going to create a new solid. I just like these to be a black solid because if I need to use them additively later, that's really helpful. So for my far background, let's troll through some of our cool unrecognized plugins, the universe generators. I'm going to use the soft gradient background. Look at that. Isn't that nice? And the beautiful thing about Universe is that it comes with so many presets. You should check these out. Look, there's even one called Blood Cells. That's kind of appropriate for what we're doing.
Nice.
Seaside, radioactive scan lines, hard edge. Like, I love all these. I kind of like this denim one, actually. I'm going to apply the preset denim, and we're going to base everything else around denim. So what this effect is, just so you all know, is it created this fractally background. And there is, as I scroll across it, this pattern there. On the texture, I'm going to turn down the, let's see. Oops, oh, that was the vignette, sorry. I'm going to turn my texture scale up a little bit until I get just a bit of detail like this. And then I'm going to add some rough keyframes for the texture to be floating to the side and down. And on that vignette, I'm going to turn its strength down a little bit. And I'm going to, where's that? Somewhere there's a mask. I don't want the mask enabled. I want the whole thing to just be this.
I forget that this background can pull in like texture and all this stuff.
It can do a lot of things altogether. It's a weird one, but it's just nice that you can have all of this stuff within the one plugin.
And what's really interesting is this one, along with some of the other generators, if you apply it to footage, you can have a really nice, you can set blend mode so it overlays on top of your footage in certain ways too.
Exactly.
So you can do you can fake like light leaks with some of these and other things like that. That's pretty neat.
You can bring in this lumpy mud like we have.
Lumpy mud. All right. I'm turning the animation speed down and the scale down. Maybe the animation speed a little bit higher than that. I feel like 1 is going to be too fast. Yeah, 1 is too fast, but I'm going for like smoky, kind of alive, bubbly thing. Let's try 0.75, and we'll start there. And on the color map, just for funsies, let me see if this looks horrible. I won't know, so you, the audience, are going to have to tell me.
Yes.
Ooh.
Well, what are we going for?
So what I want to go for is, see, what are these points? That's the texture point. Where are the gradient points? I want sort of a soft fading out into white. Actually, do I want it fading out into black and to have it be?
That horizon that you've got there is kind of working for me.
I'm deciding if I want this reversed. I kind of want it to look like a plane of particles that have this like dense band here in the middle. So this is a fine background. It's maybe animating a little bit too fast. I would maybe turn this down by, let's see, to 0.5 and the position of this offset to be a little bit less. So just a bit of moving. Okay, that's all. This is all stuff that I'm just going to camera blur in the background anyway.
I mean, dude, I rewatched, I forget why I rewatched it besides how great I am, was my Mind Flare tutorial, which...
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, it's fun. The result is great, but it spends like 15 minutes doing a ton of work that just gets completely blurred out. And I'm watching it now going, this could have just been fractal noise. There was no reason I needed to do all, and this could have just been a path. Like, it's ridiculous the amount of...
It happens to the best of us.
Well, I mean, it's like, even like folks like, what was the shot in Ghost Protocol with the Kremlin crumbling? I remember John Knoll saying there's actually some really interesting simulations going on back there behind that massive dust cloud that covers it all up.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's one of the annoying things about a lot of CG work is you can spend a lot of time on something and then it just is either covered up or it's too far away.
Yeah, the Todd Vizier is just like, I'm going to cover it with smoke. Never mind. I'm just kidding, Todd.
Ooh, Hashi, go. That circle look was really cool.
It was kind of cool.
I'm liking that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So anyway, like you can get lost in soft gradient background because it just...
I love getting lost in a good soft gradient background. Just
it
like
also
I like
has a
getting lost
lovely
in a
automatic
good
loop
depth
function.
map.
It does.
So you can set it to loop after however many seconds you need. Justin Leduc says it's like when really detailed fire gets overexposed. There's a great solution to pulling a detail out of fire.
Wait, what's that you say?
Mentioned the other day.
We did. We put Colorista on a file and cranked up clarity, and suddenly all this detail in this fire stock asset came to life. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got that soft gradient background animated thing going on. It's all just background fluff for this next effect, which is Trapcode Particular. We'll apply
those
it
who aren't
to
familiar
a
with
black solid.
Trapcode
Let's do
Particular.
this. It takes a second to load, but once it's
Well,
loaded,
the reason it takes a while to load is
I'm going to
that,
make a drop that's Trapco Particular loading, like brick.
well, I mean, the reason it takes a while is an
It's a
underlying
really
issue with
powerful
After Effects
tool.
is that when you apply an effect, it has to index every parameter. And you might look at this and go, there's not that many parameters, but there is so much when you twirl each one down. And then you have to times that by 16 because that's how many different systems you can have. So every single one of these settings has to be indexed, and it takes After Effects a while to do it.
It is a little bit wild. So I'm going to create a box, and instead of a continuous emitter, I'm going to go with some dynamic form. Actually, no, I want classic form. And that means that Trapcode is going to be generating for me these dots.
Perfect.
They're just hanging out. They're not really doing anything, which is great. I'm going to, it's just a box. See, it's a box of particles. And I'm going to click on this designer window so we can kind of see what we're working with here. All right, so here's our little box of particles. If I go to the camera tool, you can see it's a little cube, a little tesseract of particles. And one really cool thing about Particular is that under the particle type, we have all of these sprites. So if I click on Sprite and say Choose Sprite, there is this lovely menu of all these cool graphic things. You are all in for a treat as the newest release of Trapcode Particular is just around the corner, right? Or did I just... Help me out, Michael.
There is a new release of Trapcode Particular.
But isn't there always a new
out.
release around the corner?
Well, that's the fun thing about subscriptions. Releases just
Like, that would be
all
true
the
at any time of the year, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's true now. It's true yesterday. It's true tomorrow. It's true 5 years from now.
If you go up, Hashi, there's some nice... Oh, you're looking for cells or you're looking for bokeh?
I was looking for cells, but actually, yeah,
there's
we could
some
do
cells
cells or bokeh. Like, yeah, what do people like?
Bokeh is
What's
down
your-
just a little bit.
Oh,
little
light
bit.
and magic. Why do I keep on missing bokeh? Oh, yeah.
there.
There we go. All right, let's add some bokeh. Let's turn the size up and make the size random, a little bit like this. I've got some beautiful bubbles. And now I'm going to go to the color. And let me look at some of the color blocks we have here. What color blocks do we have? How about electric? Let me just double check if the color is coming from this ramp anywhere. I think I need to say that the color is random from the gradient. Wait. Let me apply this and jump out and see what we've got here.
Well, while Hashi's working on that, I would like to point out that we did, in fact, do, for those who are interested in more Ant-Man-y things, the film team experiment called Cant-Man, which the link is in the chat, and it's behind the scenes, show off some more how you can do the kind of Ant-Man effects.
This was done by my pal Cameron Childs, who you may recognize. Well, he's not in this actually, but he directed this and did this. He was in a bunch of Red Giant short films, including Form 17 and Tempo. He gets shot in Tempo. But this film team experiment he did is very fun and should go be watched. It's from several years ago, back when the first one came out. And like Michael said, the behind the scenes is very, very fun. And worth checking out.
It is very cool. So yeah, those are your like cool, like classic Ant-Man shrinking, growing kind of effects. It is very cool. All right. So what I did in the meantime was my instincts were right. I meant to choose dynamic form because dynamic form, you can go down to the environment and turn on air turbulence. And air turbulence does this kind of a thing. I know it looks a little bit goofy right now, but if you turn the animation speed down right here, evolution speed, let's turn that down to like 1.
This looks like some kind of imagery from like a mid 1990s like Michael Crichton-y, like if Cosmos were remade in like 1997 or something, right? This is what this feels like. It would look like. No, it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
80s Fringe intro that Andrew Kramer did from the 1980s episodes of Fringe. That's what this looks like to me. And that's this week's segment of What Does This Look Like to Seth?
What does this look like? Oh, we need to play that game more often. All right, so let's have so we'll have this turbulence affect the position, and let's also have it. What do I want here? On my
Now, I will say, if you want a faster way to make particles move around like that, and you want to use the classic form instead of the dynamic form, instead of using the actual air physics that Hashi is using here, there is the whole display section that is not an actual physical simulation, but it does get the particles some organic movement. What are you trying to do, Pat?
I don't know what I'm trying to do. I don't know why my color isn't.
Oh, because you
through
picked
these very
Sprite, and
obvious.
you,
Yeah,
you,
Sprite.
you,
You
have, you have to tell it to colorize.
Yep,
in the
that
script.
Sprite controls.
Oh
Click those down.
yeah, there it is.
Colorize.
Yes. Okay. So I don't need my color random.
Yeah,
I
turn
just want
random
my
down.
random from gradient. That's what I want. Okay. So now we've got this, and it still looks kind of garbagey. That's weird. So we're gonna do some opacity random, just so they're not all that weird. And now we got this. It looks not good.
Like a 90s
Mr.
Doctor Who
Keyframe
episode,
said it
according
looks
to
like
Mr.
something.
Keyframes.
Looks like something from a 1990s Doctor Who episode. That's what I was getting to.
I like that. All right. So let's take both of these layers, and then I'm going to go effect RGVFX super comp.
Super comp. We need something like angel noises or something for the super comp drop, because super comp is like the hero that saves the day
I
on
have a
so many
Superman
things.
one. We should find that.
Hold on, I've got
somewhere.
angel noises. Hang on one second.
I have them right here in my back pocket. All right.
got it right
so
here.
Carry
comes.
around angel noises all the time, just in case.
Yeah,
so
I do.
here in super comp, I am going to. I've turned.
Hashi, I feel like
Here's our angel
I feel
noises.
like you could close some of those panels on the right side and do some more things.
some of these.
Yeah.
What of it?
Oh,
These panels.
sorry. That's the theme from Angel, David Boreanaz.
I hope some of you in the chat got that joke before Seth had to mention it.
I hope so. So I've used the heat blur effect and an additive mode for these particles. And so as I turn these up, one of the things that's going to be happening with these is they will be blurring whatever is literally behind them here. And the next thing that I can do, first of all, I don't like their color at all. So I'm going to desaturate them a lot, like that. I'm going to heat blur them here, and I'm going to maybe add some texture to them like this. You'll see over here kind of what it's doing. And then I'm also going to give these a teeny bit of optical glow that I turn toward highlights only. So I'm just getting the brightest edges of a few of them, and maybe a little bit less, or maybe a little bit more, I mean. And let's turn the amount up and the size up, so we get some really nice big old glows. And I'll turn the highlight roll off up
Love
a
me
bit.
some big old glows.
Big old glows. And then down here,
This is
on
already
my
looking so much better.
background image, I'm going to go and add some cool stuff. Let's add some optical glow, which, man,
Yeah.
optical glow, which is so cool.
It is cool, but that's on top of that really strong contrasty noise. It's like, welcome to 1999.
Highlights only. So let's turn the highlights only up. Let's turn the roll off up. Let's turn the fall up. And now let's try to
Down,
find
size up, size way up.
Give me the big old glows.
size. Boom.
Like big glows, and I cannot stand smaller ones.
No, I use optical glow at like a big size and a small amount on so many things.
Big size, small amount. Full hearts.
Turn up some
Can't lose.
diffusion on that. I can probably add some.
Actually, big size, small glow can't lose, or small amounts can't lose. Actually, it would really fit our show.
Hashi, I do need to mention that some folks in the chat on your Action Movie Kids channel are wanting you to do another Evan Tube collab.
Oh my gosh.
Is that his birth name, Evan Tube?
Evan Tube HD even.
Whoa, born in HD. I'm gonna name my children with HD at the end of their names. Oh, Michael, looks like we found a girl for you. Thanks to I'm seeing this in the chat I'm seeing it a lot in the chat. Sorry, I think it's really funny when these bots come in and saying, looks like we found a girl for you with a bunch of emoji. Like, oh, thank God, finally. Thank you, 69
Finally.
Mega. Been waiting my whole life for you.
My goodness, I'm ruling this a failure on my part.
Well, might you pull open the file you did earlier and show it off there when you're not trying to do it like in front of folks?
Yeah, fine. What did we call that? Hashi prep, probably?
Haseen, there may be only 14 people on the Maxon channel, or 16 now, but there are 141 people watching total across the several channels. Red Giant is streaming it. That's where the majority of folks are. There's also some good discussion happening on the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel, and on the Action Kids channel. There's Action Movie Kids channel, and there's also some folks on Facebook.
Forgot we had
Wow.
hair. I forgot we had hair. It's so good.
His hair is ridiculous.
We're so
Okay.
adorable.
So-
like I want Funko.
so-
I want like Funko Pops made of these.
We really do need these 3D printed out. All right, so these are the cool bookas that Michael was talking
Silver
about. So
Fox.
check these out. They're so fun. And so the first thing I did with this, let's see if we can turn off Super Comp so you can all see what we're working with here. So here's the initial input. The quantum background looks like this. It's it's kind of hazy, blurry. It's a still from Quantumania,
But with one less penis.
with one less phallic representation. Just sanded off.
pointed
Just
out.
sanded it right off.
I didn't realize
And then-
I didn't realize that was in the movie until we were looking through the trailer earlier.
Yeah, it's right in the movie.
Yeah.
Center frame in a spotlight. So, so we've got our characters, and to make this look a little bit cooler for the intro, we threw them into Super Comp. And what Super Comp does is it does stuff like with the characters, for example. I can turn off. I'll turn off all of these effects for a moment. Doop-a-doop-a-doon. All right. Let's show what we've got here, and we did this as additive, right? Okay. So we start with our flat layers on top of each other. So additive blending mode, it just looks like this on top of. Actually, you can almost see the the compression in that piece. So we took the highlight and added some effects to it. I added some optical glow to them, which is nice. Like that brings them out a lot more already. And then also added our heat blur effect, which let me see if I can find a spot where they're above something. So as they grab pixels below them, they get blurred out like a diffuse kind of piece of glass. Like check this.
It looks so nice.
I
And
love that
then
Silver Fox look that
these
they-
characters looked really bad to begin with. That's a silly statement. These are not very impressive renders of these, but with a little bit of light wrap and some haze coming from the background and some reverse light wrap, so their kind of glowy edges go out a little bit, and some diffusion to mix them together, and optical glow. So these highlights are kind of mimicking the background's glows. You get a really fun integration of these things. Now, I wanted the joke to read with your pointy finger there, and so I did end up turning down. I had the haze up higher naturally, which actually does blend these two together more
same
realistically.
Thing happened to me when I took a pass at this comp when I had volume fog on here because I felt like it would look good in this, and it looked cool. But then
Ooh, volume fog would look good on this.
That
Yeah,
point
you lose
just that finger just went away.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
you need to put extra lighting on the hands or something to make them pop against the
honestly,
background better.
just like a flare behind it, like a flare or like some optical glow right behind the finger would make it pop.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, like I can
Just
scroll
add a little
forward
flock of light
into,
things. Yeah.
like, look at this. Like I'm now
Look at how that hate. Oh my gosh, that looks so good.
You can just scroll the background through the comp and look at the way it interacts now and what it does. So this is the beauty of Super Comp, is just blending everything together in this really crazy world. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like Ant-Man ended up in this territory a lot, where you had so much visual information, and we're blurring the crap out of the background. So both for the macro look and for the
Ant-Man did end up in that territory. That's my perception as well.
Now,
oh my gosh.
Okay.
I hope everyone appreciated that joke.
Okay.
It was beautiful.
Okay. Now, I do want to point out, we promised the audience we would show our intro one more time before we go, and it is 2:00. So,
oh my goodness, where does the time go?
Everybody, thank you for watching us this week. Thank you for coming.